Okay, this is Hideous Z doing a replay analysis. Silver 3, Shen top versus Vladimir. We're going to be looking exclusively at the lane phase this game. Talking about ways that you can deal with a lane opponent that has a lot of wave clear and a lot of lane pushing power when the champion you're playing, maybe doesn't. So we'll watch about maybe the first 15 minutes of the game or so and see what we can learn. So first thing, kind of a minor thing, starting Doran's shield maybe isn't super optimal versus Vlad. Most of his harassing power is going to come from his abilities, not auto attacks, and Doran's shields is primarily aimed at dealing with auto attacks. It also gives you some regen and some flat health, so it's not like a total waste here. But I would maybe consider even just going boots pots into Vladimir. Both because you have more potions that way, which will make up for the regen part of the Doran's shield. And also boots is pretty handy versus Vladimir because it allows you to dance in and out of his ability range a little bit easier. If you can play around his ability cooldowns, because whenever his two abilities, his single target siphon and his area of effect siphon or ability are up, particularly his Q, which is his single target transfusion, that does a lot of damage. Not as brutal early on, but as soon as he starts getting items, that starts doing a ton of damage. And so he will often use that for lane sustain and as farm. He just used his E there, Tides of Blood, and there he used his Q. Those are fairly long cooldowns. So Vladimir at level 1, it's a 10-second cooldown or almost a 10-second cooldown on his Q, and it's a just over 4-second cooldown on his E. So he's running some CDR because that's not the actual base values of those cooldowns. But 10 seconds is a lot. That's a big window, and his E doesn't do nearly as much damage. He can stack it up, and it'll do damage if he's casting it constantly. And so it does a little bit more than just the flat amount. So basically, it'll double in damage, the base damage anyway. But the cost goes up too. So as he stacks it up, it'll cost 60 health and do 120 plus 27 damage. So it'll end up doing a fair amount. More than Q will right at first, but this one scales a lot better, which is why it starts hurting more later. Anyway, both of them have fairly long cooldowns, not as much on E, but Q is the one that is the most devastating because it does a big chunk of damage right to you and also heals him at the same time. It's a 10-second cooldown, so whenever he blows it on a minion, that's a window for you to go in and do your thing. Whether it's pushing the lane or slowing his shove, or just getting into last hit, you want to look for those windows of opportunity around his cooldowns. You're not going to, as Shen in particular, you're probably not going to win trades or all-ins with Vladimir. He is weakest early. And so if you find a window of opportunity to dive in and bully him early on, then that's probably the best time to do it before he has a chance to get going. But Shen doesn't have a lot of great tools for winning trades early on either. So you're kind of limited to just hunkering down and minimizing the amount that he is able to bully you. So the last thing you want is for him to be able to force you out of lane. So you're doing the right thing, or you have the right idea here by just kind of staying out of his way and not letting him hit you with his abilities, but you're not recognizing the windows of opportunity you have when those abilities are on cooldown. So right now that Q's on cooldown, and he can't do anything to you for another, you start the countdown in your mind another 10 seconds or 9 seconds. And so that's a chance for you then to close the distance a bit. So you bring a lot of sustain to this lane, as much as you can. You look to bring a lot of potions, Boots can help you play around those cooldowns. You can get in and out as he's coming towards you to cast his Q or his E. You can just dance out of range a little faster with Boots. So he has a less reliable way to close with you and get those off. And then as soon as it's down, then you can go back in without fear because his auto attacks aren't going to be doing that much damage to you. But I mean, just stopping him wave clearing in general is going to be very difficult, if not impossible, until you get some more area of effect, until you get your Bomby Cinder or something. So yeah, that's the right idea. If you can execute that a little cleaner, that's a great opportunity to punish. So like a lot of other lanes that just have a lot of sustain and wave clear, Cho'Gath is kind of this way. There's a couple of others. Aurelia somewhat. There's some matchups that are just going to be really hard for you to actually... to actually win. They just have better tools in lane, and you're not, and your strengths don't come into play until later game. And Shen in particular, his strengths aren't really focused around lane, laning anyway. And so you're bringing a disadvantage to the table, and so you got to recognize that. You're not looking to win the lane really. You're looking to survive the lane and minimize the amount of advantage he comes out of lane with. Which is essentially what you're doing. Again, you're doing a pretty good job of not getting up in his face and trying to tangle with him. But realize that he is only dangerous when his abilities are up. Not all the time. And when he is gone, shove as fast as you possibly can. He burned his teleport kind of needlessly there. But you're not going to get an opportunity to go back to base. Or if you go back to base while he is in lane, it's going to be you're going to lose a lot because he can very quickly shove it into your turret. So while he is gone, or you can ask Jarvan to stick around here for a minute. You can use that as an opportunity to try to get back to base real quick and get an item or two. Be using your the sustainability on your Vorpal Blade. Make sure that you are not just using that to last hit, because he's shoving it, so you don't need to worry about trying to just last hit. He's going to shove. But hit a minion with your Vorpal Blade and then auto attack it a few times. That will really help you sustain this lane too. Bringing more potions and using your Vorpal Blade. I mean, the Vorpal Blade gives you some healing for killing it, which is good. But if you cast it like on the cannon minions in particular, you can often get several auto attacks off on those, and then kill it maybe with your Vorpal Blade too. Because the cooldown's pretty short. It's a little trickier under turret, but... Gotta speed this up. Gotta speed that up. Let's look at this. So, you're back in base. As you are recalling, you need to have the store open. In the last couple of seconds you recall, you pull the store open. We're going to see how long it takes you. Okay, so you land back in base right now at 8:13. He has already got the wave to your turret. So every second that you are in base, you are losing CS and giving him more of an advantage. So you got to maximize this. This is, again, it's a little thing, but it's something that that really makes a big difference, especially if it happens, several times. So 8:13, we're going to see what we do here. You buy Spectre's Cowl, that's good. You buy a Ruby Crystal. And then... Okay, you don't start going back until 10 seconds later. And then it's 4 seconds to channel teleport. So by the time you get back to lane, you can maybe pick up one minion. So you lost a whole wave there. You gotta speed that up. You get Spectre's Cowl pretty quick. you know, as soon as you pick up Spectre's Cowl, you can almost even just start teleporting back immediately. You know, wait until you maybe regen a little bit of health, and then just start teleporting and buy your items while your teleport is channeling. Again, it's a little thing, but it makes a big difference when you're fighting for every CS. If you can get back, if you can buy your Spectre's Cowl and start channeling right now, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're at most of your health, and you're back in lane. Instead, you end up delaying for another 5 seconds, and then start channeling. And that's the difference between 4 or 5 CS and 1 CS. And again, it's a little thing. One time that happening isn't a major deal. But as it adds up, and when you're fighting for every CS, it becomes a big deal. So one thing that you can be paying attention to here. So again, you're looking at the matchup and you're thinking, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to really reliably bully Vladimir or get kills on Vladimir. Maybe situations like this, but he has so many abilities to get out of trades and then sustain right back into it that you're not. I mean, now he pops potions and he's just going to be able to sustain right back off the next minion wave. So this is what you need to be looking for. His pool has a massively long cooldown, so if he ever uses that, that's down for a long time. Level 1 is 25 seconds with the CDR that he has. And so because Vladimir is a strong pushing champion, that does make it hard for you to farm. You're gonna lose your turret sooner. You're gonna lose some CS to the turret, but he is also going to be pushed up quite a lot, and he is not warding. He's not buying wards. He has his trinket ward. But he's not doing a good job of keeping his lane warded. So, I mean, if Jarvan is sitting right here waiting for this to happen, this is a kill. You know, Jarvan happened to be over in there, so he's coming this way. Probably still going to be a kill because Vladimir's pool is down. You have taunt. Yeah. So you are looking to punish his mistakes because you can't force your own plays. You are not strong enough. Just not even just you, but just Shen is not usually going to be strong enough to just straight take the fight to Vladimir. And because he pushes so hard, even if you were strong enough to take the fight to Vladimir, you often won't be able to because you're going to be too busy CSing under turret because of how fast he wave clears, especially after he gets his first item. So instead of that, you are looking to maximize his mistakes, and you're looking for him to overextend. You're looking for him to do stupid things like stay in lane with 300 health. You are noticing that he's not doing a good job of warding, and you're letting Jarvan know that. You're paying attention to his cooldowns. So as soon as he uses his Q and E to wave clear, that means you have a 5 to 10 second window where if he makes a mistake, you can jump in and punish him pretty hard without taking a lot of trade back. If he uses his pool, you know he doesn't have an escape, so that's an opportunity for you to get in there. He's gonna force the lane back. So you just need to play smart and play safe, bide your time, wait for him to mess up. At this elo in silver and even up into gold, and honestly even up into platinum, although it stops being quite as consistent there, you can pretty reliably, you can pretty much rely on your lane opponent making major mistakes like that. Like sticking around because he feels like he's winning the lane, and so he doesn't need to back because he's Vladimir versus Shen and he's winning this lane. And, you know, he starts feeling invincible when he's, of course, not. And so then he overextends and you kill him. But again, anytime he, let's see here. I would shove the lane here. Because you have the ability to go back and get some boots and get some potions and upgrade your warding trinket. Well, you're not level 9 yet, but get a potion, maybe a ward. and do some stuff here while he is dead. He's still dead. He's not respawned yet. His teleport is on cooldown because last time he used it, you timed it, hopefully. He used it in the Fog of War, so maybe it didn't. But anyway, I wouldn't really try to freeze here. Vladimir's going to be very difficult to freeze versus because all he has to do is walk up and cast his E and he breaks your freeze. You don't have enough area of effect damage to really contest that. He's going to be able to break your freeze whenever he wants to, pretty much. So instead of that, every time he leaves or you kill him, you want to try to maximize that by shoving. Getting, CSing as fast as you can, getting as many CS as you can in the time that he's gone, that he's not harassing you and punishing you for being there. So instead of just last hitting and getting 3 or 4 CS while he's gone, and then he comes back, by the time this wave comes, he's not far behind it, you have shoved it, and maybe you even get this turret to eat some of his CS and you close the gap. To be honest, you're actually doing really well in this lane versus Vlad. He is shoving, perma-shoving, but you are only a wave down, which is that's actually really good, given your ability to CS versus what he can do right now. It's really good. And you have a kill up, so you're actually ahead of him right now, pretty significantly. Yeah, 200 gold up. Does his team... Yeah. So maximize that. Shove this wave. You're thinking about the matchup. Freezing is a good tactic, but not really in this matchup. Punish him. Shove the lane. CS as quickly as possible while he's gone. And then look to recall. Or look to make a play while you have a few minutes of breathing room while the lane is shoved. Because Vladimir, the most frustrating thing about Vladimir is that he is permanently shoving, and so you don't have a lot of great opportunities to leave lane. If you ever do leave lane, it's going to cost you. And so when you have those rare windows where he is not there to do that, you want to try to make as much out of those windows as possible. So if you had shoved, it would be at the turret right about now, and then you could be looking to roam or use your ult somewhere or do something. And you've got some time to do that before he is able to shove the waves to your turret. You've got some time to go do something, even if it's just to get a ward down in the in their jungle or something. Even if it's just establishing vision control. You have time to do that if you shove the lane and then get back before he has a chance to make too much progress into your turret. Good. Oh boy. Wow, nice. 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 Yeah, you played that really well. Honestly, he can come in and use his ult on you and do that anytime he wants. And so you getting that taunt off beforehand and recognize that and punishing him for overextending early was really good. And then... what is this cheeky dude doing? Oh my gosh. I don't know why you didn't Vorpal Blade him. You hit your shield, which is good, but then, yeah, throw a Vorpal Blade at him. And also, when he throws this ward over, you didn't react at all. So I don't know if you were window shopping or what you're doing, but you got to see that. That gives you a warning. And then he flashed over, so he executed, but you could have gotten a kill there. Anyway, you played that dive really well. You taunted him first before he had a chance to cast any of his stuff. And then when he comes back in, you shield baited him. So it was a really close thing, but you've built well, and he is being cocky and over aggressive, and you're taking advantage of that. The other thing to recognize with all this too is that it's not the end of the world that your turret goes down. Vladimir's again one of those champions. The turret is going to go down pretty early. He's just as really good at that, and you don't have a lot of tools to combat it. So it's not the end of the world that that happens. Focus on farming. When the turret goes down, that just means you have the opportunity to farm down here much safer. If Vladimir chooses to chase you all the way down here and farm in here, he's way overextended. And you guys can punish that pretty reliably. So now that he's roaming, you can shove this, and if you shove it all the way to his turret, you have that much more breathing room to roam and do things around the map before he is pressuring an objective. So yeah, you lost the turret, and that's bad, but you can take advantage of it. Because if you shove it to the turret, he has to shove it all the way down to here before he's threatening an objective. And that gives you much more time to be making plays around the map. Because yeah, right now you're ahead of him. You're significantly ahead of him. You have done a really good job of keeping up in CS, / he's done a terrible job of CSing. It's both, but you're doing a good job in a difficult matchup. You've gotten a couple of kills because you've played those dives really smart. The only thing that you could be doing better here is trying to punish him when he leaves, and give yourself windows of breathing room. Because yeah, that's it's fine that you did that. You didn't lose much for it, except that if you shove the wave first and get it into the turret, So let me just look at this again. Okay. So you're coming up. If you are able to push this a little faster, even just a little bit faster, like you're auto-attacking those minions, so the wave is moving on that much faster. That wave then is here right now, and so the turret is hitting the minions. Because it's just a second or two, 1, 2, and so that happens a couple of seconds sooner, and the minion wave is here, and the turret is hitting it. Then when you go and do this, you're going to do a little bit of damage to him, but he's going to sustain most of it back. And so, yeah, that was a good trade. You won the trade. He's down to about half of what he had, and you only lost a little bit. But he's going to be able to sustain it right back. You can't turret dive him, really, because of his pool and his ult, and he will be able to mess you up if you do that. But so what you could do is you could shove that lane a little faster, so that the whole time that you have him taunted here and he's messing with you, he's losing CS. So again, it's little stuff. It's little stuff. You're actually playing this lane pretty well, all things considered. But little stuff like that will actually put you... again, you are ahead already, but it'll put you more significantly ahead. He might feel like he's ahead because he can bully you whenever he wants, and he can do damage to you. But you're doing actually a pretty good job of outsmarting him. And so now that lane phase is kind of wrapping up, the turret's gone down, you're looking to make an impact around the map. Oh, I think you had him. I'm not sure what happened there. You gotta try to wait until he uses his pool before you blow something like Flash. So anyway, okay, that's all we're gonna look at for this lane. So basically, or for this game, you did really well in this lane. And the only frustrating thing is that he is permanently shoving, and so that doesn't give you a lot of room to do what Shen wants to do, which is jump around the map and impact things with your ult and with teleport. So that's gonna kind of just be the way it is for the first chunk of the game. He's going to shove you, you're just going to need to sit in lane and farm. So you can abuse his cooldowns, you don't need to give him so much respect early like you were just giving him a lot of breathing room. You don't need to do that all the time. If his abilities are on cooldown, you don't need to be nearly as afraid of him. You can go up in CS or do whatever it is you're going to do. Then later, whenever he does leave lane, or whenever you do get a kill, because you're letting your jungler know that he's not warding and that he's constantly shoving, and if your jungler is smart, he will respond to that and come up and try to gank and pressure. And so when you do force him out of lane or kill him, you want to maximize that by trying to shove this as quickly as possible, so that not only so that you are, for a few reasons, because if he's here, it's hard for you to CS because he's constantly bullying you. So while he's not there, you want to try to maximize the amount of CS you can get while he's gone without having to have him breathing over your shoulder. You want the turret to take his CS because that gives you an even more of an advantage. And you want to make him have to work that much harder to get it back to your turret. If you can shove it to his turret, he's got to get it all the way, he's got to push and push and push and push and get it to here, and that gives you time to go back to base and then come back to lane without having lost many minions to your turret. Alternatively, as it gets a little bit later, as you're past level 6 and stuff, it's that same thing, but you can look to ult around the map. you know, as opposed to just going back to base. But you want to give yourself breathing room wherever you have a chance to. And then finally, as it gets into starting the lane phases, starting to end, you know, letting him take your turret is fine. He's going to do it anyway because he has more pushing power, and that actually, you can actually use that to your advantage because that breathing room phenomenon, again, you have that much more breathing room. And as long as you play smart, he's not going to be able to kill you, you know, with his full damage combo or whatever. So you played well, you punished, you didn't take unnecessary risks. There's some little things you can do to maximize this more and to come out even further ahead. But overall, you played that really well and came out ahead in a difficult lane. So well done. Thanks for giving me a chance to take a look at this. I hope it helps, and best of luck.